We're finally getting games, everyone! At least that's what this whole Facebook gaming presentation that just went by yesterday was supposed to make us feel, right? In case you missed it though, I'll be recapping the news from that presentation, analyzing what the releases could mean for the medium, and giving my thoughts in the very end. My name is Gregory, and this is the channel for Virtual Dreamers. The following were the announcements that were made at the event. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 will be releasing in winter of 2022. NFL Pro Era, an officially licensed American football game where you play as the quarterback, showed pre-alpha gameplay footage during the presentation. Among Us VR is set to release in the holiday of this year. Red Matter 2 will continue on from Red Matter 1 this summer. Spire will improve upon its prior installment with a new single-player campaign and a separate multiplayer co-op campaign. Moss Book 2 has been announced to be releasing for the Quest this summer. A new trailer for Ruins Magus was shown. Resident Evil 4 is getting updated to add its Mercenaries mode. Beat Saber is getting a mixtape of electronic music tracks, including artists such as Marshmello and Deadmau5. Studio N-Dreams has been announced to be developing a Ghostbusters VR game. And finally, Stress Level Zero's fourth project, Bone Lab, had its first trailer shown. The game will be releasing on both PC and the Quest. All in all, there was definitely a nice mix of content here for the dedicated VR enthusiast to look forward to. For everyone else, I'd say this presentation probably fell flat. Barring a few announcements like Resident Evil 4's update and Cities VR, most of the announcements that were made were for things that'll be releasing later in the year. Many of them didn't even come with exact release dates either. It also bothered me that quite a few of the titles that were shown were using either CG trailers, PC footage, or were just straight up pre-alpha footage for their presentation. It would not surprise me if these kinds of titles end up missing the presentation's initially touted 2022 releases specification with such vagueness at play. I must also note that quite a few of the announcements today were for games that we either already knew about or already should have known about. My dumbass missed Ruins Magus despite releasing a whole video asking for more JRPGs last week. Nice. We still haven't gotten any updates on some previously announced major VR titles like Assassin's Creed VR and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas here either, the latter of which particularly being a shame considering just how many people I saw mentioning it in the live chat before the presentation started. Then again, I also saw a bunch of people asking for Fortnite, Roblox, and Minecraft in there, so I suppose a good part of any disappointment here might just be mismanaged expectations. For my part at least, my expectations were actually fairly low, so I came away perhaps a bit more positive than most on the gaming showcase. After all, we're ultimately still getting more interesting games to play in the end, and quite a few of the games that were shown looked like they'd be genuinely fun to play. For someone like me who's basically been away from the medium for a few months, the presentation highlighted some nice titles that I didn't know about. Moss Book 2 already being on PSVR and Ruins Magus being a Kickstarter from back in December come to mind right away as things I missed, and I genuinely appreciate the presentation highlighting. I think it also bears emphasizing that a lot of the titles today being sequels to previously existing VR titles is actually really great news because it shows that the VR medium is doing well enough to support these developers to continue making games. Considering as well that VR is still heavily being driven by indie studios, which can basically come out of nowhere when it comes to making great titles, and I'm positive that there will be more to look forward to this year beyond all the great games that have been announced today. In the end, I've come away from this presentation expecting to spend far more time in VR this year than I did last year. Oh, and I guess I was also kind of relieved that I didn't see any games in the presentation that were anything like mine. Call me selfish, but hey, I'm just wishing the best for my game here. Follow me on Twitter at MarkystalVR to see any more updates on my game development efforts actually, and to get the latest news on the channel. I have to thank you all so very much, my fellow virtual dreamers, for watching this video. Until next time, this has been Gregory, logging out.